across the class she was called diary. So imagine what that does to a person. Such a person will struggle to be in a relationship because she will always feel inferior, isn't it? I want to give another example. Actually, I heard it from Sasaku members. Some girls were not easy. There was a gentleman here. They were mocking his voice, that he had a very small voice. And they were saying, who can marry? That they are uncomfortable introducing their friends, dating a man that he speaks like a woman. He had that kind of voice. And to people, that is what they define as somebody's worth. And so you can be on the receiving end of something like that. What exactly defines you as a person? Our self-worth comes from God, isn't it? We are fearfully and wonderfully made. People can call anyone a duff. You know who a duff is? A designated fat and ugly friend. Yes, in a group. But does that in any way disadvantage you when you're entering a relationship? The answer is no. I have ever won a contest. I think I've ever shared with some people here. They were asked, when I was studying my master's, we had a program where they would do like a beauty contest for men and women. So they asked, who was the most beautiful lady in campus? The ladies feared to come forward because I was in Asia, and Asian ladies, should she come forward and she becomes the last, that is a very big problem. They have that fear in them. So they asked, so men can come forward if you think you're handsome. So your elder came forward alongside two other Africans. It was not in Africa. So they asked, tell us why you think you're very handsome. And the first speaker said, I am very handsome because my mirror tells me every day. When I look in the mirror, I look at myself, I look around, I am handsome. That's what he said. The second person got the microphone and said, I'm handsome because I have inner beauty. I may not look that appealing to you outside, but I have values inside that you may not see. I have an inner beauty that I have, and that's what defines me. And when I look at myself, indeed, I'm very handsome. So I was the last person to speak. I got the microphone and said, for me, I know I am handsome because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I am made in the image of God. Nothing that comes out of the hand of the Creator is ugly. That if you say I'm not handsome, then you're insulting my Creator. My Creator is the creator of what? Of perfection. So we had a vote, and the winner is the one talking in front of you. So, and it's not that I was just saying it for the sake, I believe it. So people can call you anything, your physical features. Anyone can be in a relationship. We do not get our self-worth from what people talk about us, because otherwise we are likely to go into relationships with people and you realize you have a higher value later. If people tell you you don't look nice, anyone who comes around and you say you think this person is helping you, later on when situations change, you start struggling. So another thing that affects people, even if you have been in a relationship and a boy has chucked you, does that mean you're below him? The answer is no. The boy may not know what is missing. It may be an issue of incompatibility between the two of you. So if you're in a relationship and it ends, never lower your standards to accommodate a second person, because you are not lower than the person who has done what? Was chucked you. So self-worth is important. It's different from self-centeredness. When the Bible says that you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself, it's not telling you to hate yourself. It says you shall love others, but as you love yourself. So And the only thing that may be is if we are not good because we have failed to take care of ourselves. Pathfinders talk about, I will take care of my what? My body. That's all I think I expect from you. Take good care of yourself, observe the health laws, and a secret, you hear these concoctions that they advertise on media. Sengana matovu, who, all those. If you follow an Adventist health lifestyle, you're not worried about that. As a married person, even that area of your life, you'll not need to go and buy all these. If you take care of your health and do what you're told to do as an Adventist, do exercise, feed well, rest, take all that, you are healthy as a person. Then, point number 2, after understanding your sense of self-worth, is understanding yourself, your personality, your character, and your goals. I don't know whether we are all, except the master guides, we understand who a sanguine is, who a phlegmatic is, who a melancholy is, and who a choleric is. People's personalities affect how they relate. Because I may not go into the details of each personality, but in a summary, we have sanguines who are extroverted, people-centered people. We have cholerics who are extroverted, task-oriented people. We have melancholies who are introverted, task-oriented people. We have phlegmatics who are introverted, people-centered people. The phlegmatic, by character or by nature, will wake up one day and he says, I have had enough of this relationship. I'm going away. They don't express emotions very easily. You have been hurting him. He's not an emotionally expressive person, but he has been keeping something until he bears it no more. If you're a man, you're dating a choleric lady, she'll always drive you. Cholerics naturally outgoing, they are self-driven. Today she'll tell you, let's go to this. Tomorrow she'll tell you, let's go to this. The other day she'll tell you, let's go this side. The other day, let's go this side. If you're a phlegmatic dating a choleric, she's likely to drive your relationship by your temperament and by her temperament. So, to go into a relationship, understand what your temperament is. Understand the temperaments of others and how they relate in a relationship. You will otherwise not get problems. And understanding your goals and values is also part of it. I have a personal mission statement. If you don't have it, these people say that if you have nowhere, you're going, every route will lead you there, isn't it? You know why people jump from one relationship to another? They have not defined who they are and their goals. So if you have not defined your goals, it is hard for you to know what exactly you're looking for in another person. So, what are my goals in life as a person? Who am I? What is my character? What type of mission do I want to go into? Then having known that, so therefore, what kind of life partner am I going to get? That's a fundamental question that you ask yourself. Then, this one I will ask the audience about it. You can't go into a relationship or marriage without understanding the right God's definition of marriage. If, Eddie, I don't know whether you can help me with a mic, a person with a mic, I want to ask, we all want to get married, isn't it? I just want one volunteer to tell us why. Why he wants to get married. Jennifer. Give Jennifer the microphone. Jennifer, why do you want to get married? Okay. Okay, volunteer. Before Bob, I want a student. Oh,
Uh,
yes. Why do you want to get married?
uh, Marriage is a blessing.
Yes?
It's a blessing. And also, it is the best way to have kids or children.
Okay. So for him, his reasons are two. He wants to get the blessings of marriage and to get children. Isn't it? Two more volunteers. Yes. Yes. I'm going to. I will not.
For formality.
For formality. Yeah, and you are genuine because some people marry because the parents need heirs.
Personal, as the reason as to why I want to get married. First of all, I want to get married when I'm still young for stability.
For personal stability.
Wow. Stability. Then I also need to serve God, and I feel that's the best way I can serve God when I'm in marriage.
Okay. Thank you. So I think let's stop there. One more.
Okay, thank you very much, Elder. But my answer comes from Genesis 2:18. And God said it's not good for a man to stay alone.
Yes.
Yes.
You are tired of loneliness. This man is, we can stop there. So you can see, within a congregation, the reasons for marriage are varied. Some are right, some are wrong. Some are peripheral, others are fundamental. Yeah? So please, it is very dangerous for you to have peripheral reasons for marriage. Start thinking about a spouse. Pastor is going to take us more deeply into why we should get married. So those are questions I told you. Understand the sense of self-worth, understand yourself, your goals in life, and God's definition of marriage. Now, I want to go into something, understanding what love is. Because love is something tricky. In general, love is God's character, isn't it? We enter into a marriage, extend God's character in our relationships as spouses. Now, but the love between a man and a woman, I think I shared this at MOOBS recently. There is a triangle that describes the elements of love. One is passion, another one is intimacy, another one is commitment. Some people, ladies like saying love is a feeling. Have you heard that statement? Men say love is a commitment. But not all of them purely describe it. And you can also have commitment only when there is no love, isn't it? You can have two people, and I can use this example I've ever used before. If, let's say, I find her in senior 6 VAC, and pay for her tuition at campus. She has no one to take care of her. After her graduation, I organize a party. And after 24/7. So I one time asked a person, he laughed, said I cannot marry a Muchiga. the, the lady was a Muchiga. So for them, there was never commitment between the two of them. And there is also filial love. Filial love, she loves you like a brother. She's committed to you. He is committed to you. When you fall sick, he will come from Karamoja and take care of you. But try to go beyond that, you'll be surprised. You'll find two people working together for 3, 4, 5 years, but there is no passion between them. But love will involve commitment, it will involve intimacy, it will involve passion. All these will have to be there for a love relationship to be strong. I'm about to end. Now this is where I go to factors to consider. I want to get them briefly from Ellen White. It's called Adventist Home. Because people talk about the factors to consider, there are so many, everybody has his own. We used to have what they used to call A, B, C, D, that age, beauty, character, dignity, education, family background. I don't know whether you've ever heard of that. That you follow the A, B, C, D, E. You look at the age, you look at the beauty, then character, then dignity, whatever that was, education, family. I don't know what the G stood for, but there was a whole series of statements. But Spirit of Prophecy, Ellen White has a specific chapter where she talks about the factors to consider in the choice of a love companion. She says, whether man or woman, ask yourself these 3 questions. This is section 3, chapter 6 of Adventist Home. She says, will this union help me heavenward? Or this somebody is a good date on a social day, but necessarily a good husband or wife. Isn't it? Yes. They are very good to be with casually. But deeper questions when they come. Ellen White says that you should ask, will this union help me heavenward, or it will drag me down? In her company, does she say, the ladies? The man should be diligent, aspiring, honest, and God-fearing. He shun those who are irreverent, shun lovers of idleness. But when you come to visit a man and he's on video games, flee. Don't just walk away. Do what? Flee. Take off. Shun lovers of idleness. And she says that even if somebody is addicted to 1 glass of liquor, 1 glass, if he tells you, I've only taken, that if I take only 1, she says flee from that one. Shun him. So she also says that look at how he treats his mother. From the way he treats his mother is how she will treat you. These are directly from Spirit of Prophecy. And she says, if he does not respect and honor his mother, will he respect and love and show kindness towards his wife? If you can't find a yes, then your answer is never. Don't go there. Will he be patient with my mistakes? Will he be critical, overbearing, and dictatorial? That you can see dictatorial tendencies from among gentlemen. And back to the issue of diligence. If, let's say, a gentleman is a SASACO executive member, and he's the one who has got an activity, a department, and he's very, very lazy with it, he's not diligent. Do you think he's going to be diligent in your house? Will he develop all of a sudden traits of diligence if he hasn't shown them? This is the time to observe. If he's a choir member who is never coming for practice, yes, yes. What Ellen White says, those are indicators of the kind of person he's going to be. Miraculously, he's not going to be, let's say, in the work here, and you expect him to be a hard-working man on the other side. So I think I will conclude with, she also says something that you look at a man who will enable you preserve your individuality. That is paragraph, let's see. That will he allow you to preserve your individuality, or must your judgment, conscience be surrendered to the control of your husband? She says, ask yourself those questions. Can you honor the Savior's claims as supreme, or the man will say, will want his claims to be supreme over Christ's? Will he allow you to preserve your individuality to pursue your goals, or his goals matter before yours? She says, put a red flag on those ones. I think those are the points that I could pick, but you can go. Most of us have this book, Adventist Home. And for men, for women, she has fewer points. My seniors are coming in. That for you, if you're a man, it says, a prudent wife is from the Lord, and the heart of her husband trusts in her. She gives very few examples and says, is the woman somebody who will bring happiness to your home, or home will be toxic? Are you comfortable? Because, like I said earlier, some people make good dates for social days, but not necessarily good wives. But does she bring happiness to your home? Will she use all her earnings to gratify a vanity and a love of appearance? If she has a small job and all her money is in buying shoes and dresses, and she's somebody you're dating, Ellen White says put the question marks on those ones. Are principles correct? I think I will stop there and just say one last thing. How do you select? That one I will leave it. Maybe I can highlight it, then I will ask my elders to expound it more. There have been two theories around Adventists about how you get a life partner. I have listened to Pastor Maka. He gives a different angle with Pastor Mulumba. Mulumba was at the division. He came here, actually, Sasaku here, and told us for him, he got his wife, he prayed to God for a sign. And God gave him a sign. And the sign was fulfilled. So he did not know this girl, he had never dated her, but said, God, show me the wife I'm going to marry. God showed him, and they had been married for 25 years. Pastor Maka told us that you cannot find without searching. That I cannot say that, pastor cannot say, I have found my tie when he's wearing it. You find something that you have looked for. So he told us, it is not unspiritual to undertake a dating and courting process. You can as well, some people can pray to God and he gives them a spouse. Others can physically ask God to guide them during the search. He helps you set up the criteria. He helps you move to identify the person you want to marry. That is why I stop. Thank you so much for listening.
Elder Vale says, well, we request that you may note down those questions you have so that we can have questions together. I don't know whether Elder Vale is here to guide on that more. Yours is not around. All right, as he's coming to guide us the more, my elder will end, I think, the discussion. We had promised each other to use around 15 minutes, and I think Ed has used less than that. Okay. Okay. It is still fine. Let me start with these few remarks. I want to say that even when the devil has attacked this institution of marriage, it still remains God's established institution. Okay? Even when there are challenges that we look at, when we look at those marriages which are breaking up, God is still calling you and me to get married. There is no another option. Anyway, Paul gives another option, but I don't want to go to that. Okay? That will come later. Yeah, we'll have another day for that. Amen? Yes, but even when marriages are breaking down, you first reach there first before you say they are breaking down. Maybe yours is going to survive. Mark Shivan, why you believe even yours is going to break down? There is a pastor who said when he was officiating a marriage, he said, I am scared when I stand before people to officiate a marriage because I have so many I've officiated and they are broken down. It was a serious statement. So even he had developed fears, these people getting married. But before you, don't decide before you're there. And the part I'm going to do in the next, by God's grace, less than now 13, because I've used the lounge 2, is the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage. I know you could have so many other purposes you could have as a person, but I'll give a few of them. Why should you get married anyway? And my elder was asking, why should you get married? Before I get to what elder was saying, by God's grace, I've been married now 6 years. And I remember when I made those cards, and I started moving them to different people. Yes, invitation cards to my wedding, actually. There's a gentleman who was very critical. He asked me a question, why are you getting married? I looked at him, he said, are you joking? No, I mean, why are you asking such a question? I think I'm mature enough to marry. He said, no, let me ask you again. I was still holding my card. Then my hand was starting to withdraw. Actually, I was trying now to bring the card back to put it where even I picked it from. He asked me, I'm asking you a question. Why are you getting married? Now, with all the hopes and all, if there is any humbling experience, is the experience you go through when you're getting married. Because I know most of you is where we are going. Why am I bringing this? This guy, it did not mean that he did not want to support me. But I told him now, when he became so instant, I said, no, I want to get children and I'll have a family. He said, now you ask me a question. What if you don't get children? I started to imagine. Now, looking back at my wife to be, said, is it possible that she may not have? I said, but no, she looks like she can be a good mother. Then I tried to imagine, I said, no. He said, he gave me his experience, told me, I've been married 6 years. And we struggled to get a baby for 5 years. There was nothing coming. The pressure I had from the community, from family members, was too much for me. I almost gave up. But by God's grace, they had got a baby. Then he told me these words, never marry because you need to get children. Now, I don't know whether it makes sense to you, but maybe one day it will make sense to you. But he was telling me that marriage should not only be for making children. Yet, as a person, when I was marrying, by God's grace, I had a feeling, and one of the most, something that I was putting on my eyes most, was that day that we could get a baby home. By God's grace, we got 1, 2, and finally we have baby Valley. Now, the purpose of marriage. You may have so many other reasons, but I've tried to list here a few of them. Of course, we'll add others. One of it is that a married person commands more respect and dignity than the single. Now, this is gotten from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4. And you can also look for Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22. And someone was trying to give power to this and say that I was trying to make, there's a week of prayer that has been going on. And then there's a topic which was saying the witness of 2. And it was trying to dig to the background where our church started from, and was pointing at Mr. White and, is it Ellen Hammond and James White, and was trying to point out how that family became a pillar in the Adventist church when they were together. So there's also another couple. Was it Prisca in the Bible, and Priscilla and Aquila? Yes, that family also did wonders in the ministry. Now, so respect and dignity. I may not so much dig into that. It's one of the factors. Then 2, married people are there for one another to solve problems of loneliness. Somebody was already saying here that one of the reasons why he wants to get married is he wants to stop being alone. And of course, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. If 2 lie together, they'll keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. The other point could be, I'm trying to utilize my time. Keep the question, you'll ask it, Barry. Now, yeah, I know you'll tell me your blanket is good enough to give you warmth, but still, you let us know. Marriage is a remedy or solution to fornication and other immoral acts. And nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 2. That was the advice from Paul. So, if you're suffering with that problem, marriage could be one of the solutions to end that problem with you. And the other point I try to bring out here is, through marriage we get legitimate children. This is Malachi chapter 2, verse 15. It's within marriage that we can instill good morals, behaviors to our children. And there are also evidences that children who have been brought up between a broken marriage, they have challenges. So, or by one parent, there are some research that have been done that points out that they have some challenge. So, a man and a wife being together, it helps to instill good morals into the children. And the other one is, in marriage, we get soulmates who take care of our needs. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Such needs may include physical needs, spiritual needs, and economic needs. Okay. And the other point I tried to put down here is, through marriage, we can learn to be responsible, taking care of others, leadership, development, and other skills. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 13, and 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. And you can also add Luke chapter 12, verse 42. I'm trying to be faster so that we can have some time for elder and also the questions. The other one, before I come to the last one, is through marriage we demonstrate stewardship to our bodies and our spouses in marriage. Each one is there for the other. This is a quotation, and it says that the home is a primary setting for the illustration of God's image in man. Within a family, father and mother and children can express themselves fully, meeting each other's needs for belonging, love, and intimacy. And the last part I'm handling in the last 5 minutes I have is, you need to prepare yourself before you get into marriage. And preparations differ from one person to another, but there are a few I tried to put out here, is how to prepare yourself. There are things you have to put with you before you get into marriage. One of them is know what you need and also know yourself. Know what you need and also know yourself. Yeah, things you may get to know or know about yourself, or what you need is the age of the person you're looking for, the faith, the size, the tribe, and some qualities differ from person to person. Differ from a person to person. We have different qualities, but of course, character, tribe, clan, age, size, height, education, color, all this are to be identified, because the saying that love is blind. One will say that never fall in love blind. Reason is one: the person you get to, or the person you marry, just like our church stands, becomes yours for a lifetime. Because this person you're going to stay with for the rest of your life, it's worth it to spend good time, look at them, and know them better. Because if we come here one day, we have hope that Kyambogo within the next 2 years will be a marriage center. Amen? Yeah. Of course, with the developments that are happening, we know it's going to happen. Now, when you come here and then we witness you get married, you won't tell us tomorrow that, things are not okay. For us now, we just want to hear good news from you. Say, how is marriage? Oh, it's doing well. But it's burning deep down there. So, it's worth it to spend more time studying this person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And, okay, if you identify a potential candidate, you may start by befriending them. I think this is now easier for you. Most of you know where to begin from. But this is a simple one also, that if you identify a potential candidate, you may start by befriending them, and then this will give you a chance to study him or her. And some people call this dating, as A will let us know about dating. If you have really admired her, you may approach him or her, you may approach her directly, or send someone, preferably her friend or a close person who she respects, or write her a message. Send her a gift, or raise her, on phone. You can choose an option. However, even other options still stand. Seek prayerfully for God's guidance during this process. Genesis chapter 24, verse 12. And if she accepts that those steps, I think they have been now put around. However, some of the things have not been so much considered. However, there are quite a number of people that have conducted research, such as on how if somebody is a sickle cell carrier, if you happen to get a sickle cell carrier, you will have problems with the marriage. So one of the things you test for is sickle cells. Now, that may sound serious. Yes, I think Ada will put emphasis on that. Yes, sickle cells. So many people don't focus on, as long as they test for AIDS, HIV, that's done. But at least most of the people now these days go for these tests because they mean about syphilis, sickle cells, and of course, HIV. In case the results are good, you can start organizing for introduction to both parents. And after introduction, organize which pastor will officiate. Very good. And okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. And of course, I want to get done with these points. And okay. Here I say, do your courtship carefree, effectively to avoid regrets in the future. Agree on issues where you have different opinions. God loves legally and committed married couples. Malachi chapter 2, verse 4. And last, when He helps you and you get married, remember to thank God. And I was trying to say here, some people, listen, some people spend almost the biggest part of the honeymoon to be. They spend it before they reach that time. Does that make sense? Some of you guys could be already on honeymoon. But this will affect you because you are doing what you're supposed to be there. You are supposed to be doing there. So when you reach there, it will be a different story. So better don't spend part of there would be the good time for you in marriage before you married. God bless you, and may I, Elder Simzi wants to say something, is calling up Elder Mangeni to take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I've gotten some query. Are we guys fitting the panelists? Are we learning? Now, what do you want? Yes? Yes? Interaction. You have questions. Now the papers have gone through. However, we have some more 10 minutes from Elder or 15, and we have the rest of the time about question. One by one, we give to the panel and they'll be able to answer. But however, be quick. If you bring those questions fast enough, we can try to work within the time. Please, I said this is fun, and this is so ask that question and let us interact much more. I know the panelists have taken their time, but they are giving us these facts because we need them. Some of us maybe have not been having, knowing the love triangle, the love languages, and quite a lot, I believe, you've been able to know or to understand. However, give Elder Mangeni some few minutes, and then we'll dive into the questions. May the good Lord bless you.
Thank you, Elder. To me, marriage is a long story, and there's no one single session where you can sit and answer every question. Because every question you answer produces another question. Every answer leads to another question. You keep answering and answering until you can't answer anymore. The pastor was saying that people don't want to marry because marriages are getting broken so fast. So you mean yours is broken before you are married, so you don't want to marry? You are breaking yours before you even marry. Because you are saying, no. At this rate, there's no point in getting married. The other thing are the wrong concepts that people have about marriage and even dating. Actually, people have more wrong information than the right information. And they listen to rumors. I've had an experience where two people are talking. One is telling the other about marriage, but none of them is married. Now I'm wondering, where did he get this information from? The one who is leading the discussion saying, you know this and you know that, and you're thinking, where did you get all this information now, all this CV? Where did you gather it from? So just to warn you that not everyone who you hear saying, Lord, Lord, shall inherit what? But those who do what our Father's will is. So about marriage, there's a lot of gambo, a lot of propaganda, a lot of wrong information. Even things that they are named, very inappropriate. And they are mixed up, by the way. I was told to talk about courtship and dating. And I know you know more than I do. For sure, I know that. But they have accepted. Okay. Pastor is saying they don't know, but these guys are, but you okay? You are saying, yeah, that's it. So, but simply put, really, marriage is a worthwhile project. Every worthwhile project takes preparation and input. And the time we take to date and court is that gracious time. The other morning, actually yesterday early morning, I was talking to my son when I was driving to work, and I told him, look, you are given to choose only one person in the whole world. Your sample space is global. If you have the money, you could travel to South America and check, and go to North Africa and see, and go to Australia and have a look, and come back to the UK and go, because that's your sample space. Until you say, now I have found her, or I have found him. And if you find that one person, you are being told, choose the best. Choose your best. Before you say, I do, you must be sure I've chosen my best. So that takes time. That takes a lot of information. That takes a lot of finding out. But if you just go by infatuation, and you say, for me, people say, for me, it was love at first sight. The moment I saw her on a young Kuba, I could not think again. I look at such people with a lot of pity. And you see, me, they were, actually, people have said this to us. One lady told me, I went to the UK. This lady said, the moment I saw you walk in, I said, today God has brought me someone. And then when you introduced yourself, you went like, I am married. I just said, ah. Now, how would you see someone and you conclude even before you know about them? You see how that one is illogical. You can't see someone and say, I'm not going to marry. So courtship and dating is that process you'll go through to do this. Now, dating is the simple one, is the less serious one. You can have a date with anyone. If you ask anyone out, that's a date. And now, a date doesn't mean anything. Now, let me give you the difference between the man's mind and the girl's mind, the boy's mind and the girl's mind. To a boy, allow me to say that when you ask for the date and someone accepts, you're already starting to rub yourself at the back. That means nothing. It's totally meaningless. That girl can come out for a date with you, even 2 times, even 3 times, but it means nothing until you have built up the process. That's why Elder was saying, and then the girl introduced the boyfriend. And this one was like, I thought I was the one. So boys assume so much. They assume so much, they assume so much that even on the first date, they want everything to happen. That's how silly we are. Because she has accepted to come back with you, ddala naye ate bwe sisaba omulala ajja kunsooka. So you keep debating all those things in your head, but you need to calm down. I'm talking to boys. Boys, calm down. Our psychology is very different from the lady psychology. The more calm you are, the more you are likely to win. Those who you rush and win, you have not got a right person. I want to warn you that one. If you take out a girl for a first date and you ask for sex and she's boy, you have just automated. You have just knocked and a hard knock. Because now, what if you ask her it's okay, and then you take a different person tomorrow and it's okay? Now, who of the two is yours? You see? So is a come, is a go. I asked my wife, we dated and went through courtship for 4 years. That was a bit a long time. Very long, because we started early when we were all still in school. But when we went for honeymoon, listen, I asked her this question. I said, what if along the way I asked for sex? What would you have said? She told me that would have been the end of it. I said, hey, Katonda Nyamba. I said, God help me, and I got saved. I didn't ask for anything. Wow. She said that would have ended it. Because she was that kind of open, focused person who you would see and you think is a friend with everyone, but she had her own principles. So she told me that, and I was shocked. I said, oh my God. Supposing I was tempted along, then what would have happened? She said that would be the end of it. Because I had been warned, she was telling me, because I had been warned about men that they are just after sex. And the moment they get you, it ends it. Now, Pastor is talking about people who go for honeymoon before they go for marriage. And when you are getting married, now you are telling this man that we plan for our honeymoon, whatever. Supposing he tells you, but the honeymoon is over. The honey is over. The combs are empty. How painful would that be to you? So girls get serious. These issues of courtship and dating are there for your kwetegereza, and you are not coerced. You should never be coerced to say yes to anybody until you are convinced he's the right person. Because you are really entering your own prison. You are entering your own heaven or your own hell. So be careful, be sincere, be serious, and don't act. Now this goes to the girls. Girls, you act so much. Sometimes you are like you are for it. Sometimes you are like you are not for it. And the boys get confused. Am I speaking to someone, boys? And boys get confused. Say what you mean. Friends, say what you mean and mean what you say. If I've come and I've asked, can we have a date? And I'm like, I'm not available this weekend. Maybe we plan another time. Mean that. And when you come out for a date, if you want to clarify what's this date about, it's your date. Ask. Ask. Don't say they're like, oh, Mani, the boy told me we went. He didn't tell me anything. And we were just there. And we just looked at each other. We talked. And anyway, we came back. Why are you confused? Ask and clarify. Don't be fooled and fool someone. Me, I think what helped us is that we're so open. We're given some clues that when you go out for a date, make sure you are safe. What's that safety, especially for a girl? Some of these boys have asked you for a date and taken you into dark corners. And you feel you are compromised, and you feel you have no choice. Those are also stupid statements we make. The way he took me in a place which I didn't know, I had no choice. Who tells you? Who tells you? If he wants to shoot you, let him shoot you. If he wants to kill you, let him kill you. Tell him, man, you're not having it now because I'm not ready for you. We have not planned anything about that. We didn't agree about that. You're a person. Don't accept to just be kufunyizwa and you are pocketed by someone. And then the boy sleeps with you. And guess what? When he comes out, he says, Oyo namumala temuli. Oyo temuli. Dozanja kunonyayo mulala. How do you feel? Terrible. Destroyed. Violated. So these things we need to balance. Boys and girls, we need to be reasonable. And let me tell you, do you know that you can end promiscuity by talking to only girls? You can end promiscuity even in the church by only talking to girls. There is a couple, they are not here now. They married recently here in Kyambogo. But when I took them out to talk to them, they told me, Elder, you are one of the rare people who still talk about sexual purity. And I said, what? He said, these boys and girls you see, you talk about sexual purity, it's like you an obscene thing to them now. Because boys and girls feel also entitled to sex. And anybody who brings on a topic of sexual purity is just denying them their right. Me, I speak very kindly to them. I tell them, young boys and young girls, this is what you are building towards. Why are you rushing through it? Why are you rushing through it? So, while you're going through courtship, while you're going through dating, play it safe, play it with information. You have not even gone for these tests. Me, when I was going to marry my wife, we did 8 premarital medical tests. 8. Some of the details I even don't know what they were testing for. I don't know, I didn't know. But one of them was that. They said if you have a trait of sickle cells and your wife has, Dr. Milano told us, even if you love each other to death, I'll tell you, don't marry. Because you're only marrying but for sorrow. He said, if there are any incompatibilities I find in your blood systems, I'll tell you, don't marry, because you don't need to marry for sorrow. You are marrying for joy. So she did through all those tests, and he told us, all clear, it's okay. Now, before people have done any test, they're already having conjugal right. They're already sleeping together. They're already having sex. So what are you going to test for? What are you testing for? Just to convince the pastor that we have results. maybe DNA. So I have not followed my notes, but I just thought I should just pick and drop things as my mind tells me. But to be honest with you, this process is to ensure that you get into a safe marriage, is to make sure that you get into a loving relationship, is to make sure that you are getting into a happy family. Otherwise, if you rush and skip things, then you are left to chance. You are just left to chance. Whatever happens, happens. And God takes care. But young people, you have an opportunity. One single opportunity to build a good family and a happy family. You ask even some people who took precautions and whatever, we still have issues to sort out. What about those ones who just plug their heads blindly? They must be having massive things to deal with. They must be. Because if you take all precautions and move, and you still find that even in that precautionary move, you still have issues to sort. What about someone who just dived in? Must be having a hell of things to deal with. So I want to wish you well. I will end here. But I want that when you have a good opportunity, use it. These girls are here. These boys are here. Take time to study them. If you want to know their background. And if you think out of what you have discovered, it doesn't work, don't commit before you have done all that. Some people rush to commit, then they say, I've been heartbroken. Which heart was broken? Maybe you didn't even have a heart in the first place. Yeah, because you just dived in. Me, what I call a broken heart is when someone has taken their precaution, they have built up a relationship, and something and a disappointment. But this one is you just jump today, and tomorrow you're saying boyfriend, girlfriend, and then the other is broken. There's no heart broken there. One young person told me this again as I end. He said, Elder, do people's heart get broken anymore nowadays? Then I said, what do you mean? He says, this is now like daily bread. This one comes, the heart is broken. This one, so hearts are shattered. If you want a heart now, you pick crushed pieces. Crushed pieces to put together, and you made somebody's heart. So thank you so much. I think we get into question and answer, and may God bless you.
We have received many questions, and some are specific to individuals, others are general. So perhaps on behalf of the panel, there are some questions that I see specifically have my name. And
Then the other one was, how does a man prepare for successful family? I think that is related to the above. Then, how long does dating and courtship need to take to make a decision for holy matrimony? I think that was a question for Elder, because he has been handling that topic. So let him handle that one as moves to the next question.
I think there's no specified period of time, but writers say from several months to up to 2 years, or even beyond. What defines is your preparedness and the information you want. Some people even last 6 months. Some people tell you 3 months and have made a decision. And I take that with a bit of doubt. I wonder whether you have really explored it rightly and nicely. Because sometimes you are rushing, and then you discover things which will make you tip off again later. So I think as long as you are sure you have, and you are contented, you have learned your spouse and you get acquainted with them, maybe you have introduced each other to the parents and you're okay, then you can go ahead. There's no time limit there. This one says, I would like to know why most aged Adventist youth have failed to get married or to marry. Aged abakuze kuzemu, eh? Is it? Okay, listen. Is it by their choices or they have failed to get the right persons? If yes, what do you advise the young generation? Okay. The question is here. Listen, guys. First of all, nobody is born aged. Nobody is born what? It means these people have also been young youth and they have just grown. But along the way of growth, maybe they have either given themselves too much time or they have missed opportunities or chances. And these ones, I tell young girls, sometimes you think you are so young, you are so beautiful, and you don't know that the clock is ticking. By the time you wake up, the potential people have gone past. And now you look around, and these people are like, If we are a younger generation, so the key word here to say, use your opportunities at the right time. Use your chances at the right time. For me, when I wanted to marry, people told me you are too young. I told them I am okay. And I got married.
Okay. Thank you. I have 2 quick questions. One is it okay to marry from outside the church and convert her? The answer is no. Simple. When we are converting, marriage is not part of our evangelism plan. We are not looking for spouses as we are doing evangelism. We are not saviors. Yes. Our salvation, our efforts toward salvation do not have a plan B for spouses. So it is wrong to marry from outside and convert them with the purpose of converting them. Then is it bad to have sex with a person you love and you're going to marry? If this person is in lesson class, you should go back to Bible class. Premarital sex makes you a candidate for the lake of fire. That's according to Revelation. You're a candidate to the what? The lake of fire. One last question I have here. One last question that I have here is that it was addressed directly to me, that most of the problems that ruin marriages are not exposed until later when the marriage has matured. How do I escape these vices? Now, first of all, it is not true that most of the adverse behaviors that ruin marriages are never exposed until later. You are just too blind to see them earlier, but they are always there. The signs are there. You sometimes, because of passion, because of lack of prayers, you don't see them. But if you approach it prayerfully, the things that ruin marriage are not completely hidden from you. So this is not correct. If we take our dating and courtship, and seriously, that's when these problems come. But as before. So, Pastor, you can.
All right. This one says, with the unbalanced, it says, with the unbalanced population in gender, has God planned for everyone to get married? Ed, that's the real question. This person should have a background of being a Muslim. It's a tough question, but it's a genuine one. It's generalizing, because question one, why are you asking for other people? First get yours. You first get. Otherwise, if you are worried, you may have some other concepts of wanting to help other people who may fail to get get where to get to, so you can help. That's like one friend told me, no, I need to help this community so I can take around 4 words. No, but I think if it's God's intention, he knows why it is like that. Yeah. Then what is the awakening, what is weakening marriages despite the variable information on both sides? What is weakening marriage? Of course, sin and the devil has a big hand in this, because God intended that marriage should not get, broken. But we have seen that there is quite much to do with actually marriage is more spiritual than physical. I don't know whether you have got that. Marriage is what? More spiritual. Yes, you need to study that. You will know about it. The physical part of it is there, but it's more spiritual. Given the fact that God that instituted it is a holy God, then everything that has something to do with holy things, it has a lot to do with being spiritual. Then, what is the one thing we have to consider despite the much notice about marriage? The one thing. What's the one thing we have to consider? Of course, as for me, one thing I put on as my number one on my list was, I need to get a fellow church member. That was my number one. Thank you. Let me get the elder.
Thank you, Pastor. This one says, can I date or marry a lady older? Your choice. Up to you. And now listen. We already discussed the age, so put yourself in the equation and make a decision. Second question, is it right for a lady to show interest? I think it's okay. You see, the scale is imbalanced. The ladies are the ones being chased, are the chasees, and we are the chasers. So a circumstance where you find that the man is the chasee, it looks abnormal. But I think it's okay. I've already told you a story of a friend of mine who the lady expressed interest first, and they ended up marrying. I think it's okay if you do it in an honorable way. The only thing that ladies do, they show interest the wrong way. You just entice and attract and expose yourselves. So this guy is coming to you not for a reasonable relationship, but for sex. If you say, let me put off a little bit more, let me expose a little bit more so that this guy can see what he's missing, then you're going to end up the wrong way, most likely. But if you say, brother, so, I want to talk to you. Yes, why not? But let me warn you. Let me warn you. In most cases, girls, listen, girls, in most cases, the boy is going to run away. Why? It's not stuff they're used to. Even when I'm in work, and my wife is like, when are you getting home? And I'm like, what's happening? Hey, come on, boy, I want you here. For me, I will come. But it's not the woman make the So you have to do it very tactfully, very sincerely, and be very honest. Otherwise, the boy might think you are laying a trap for him. Or you might think you're having problems and you want someone to God.
Thank you. Listen to this one. What if you seek to God to show you a sign of a marriage spouse and it appears in an unbeliever or an Adventist person? Shall you go forward? Let me answer you. Let me listen to this. You know, when you ask God for a sign, the devil may not hear what you're asking God, but he can see what he can trace. The devil has intelligence to see what you're doing and suspect. Eh? Yeah. Because you see, God does not use sinful ways of achieving his means. If God has said he wants you to marry a believer, and a sign comes through an unbeliever, first establish whether that sign is really from God. Eh? Do you understand me? 2, the unbeliever may have the sign, wait for a believer. Maybe a believer will come along with that sign. You will know that that is what God has prepared for you. So God will not use sinful ways to achieve his means. We may use that to justify a decision we want with an unbeliever, but before God it will to say, God, I said, if I come to Banda in the morning at 11, if I find a lady, that's my wife. And Banda 11, many ladies are going to be passing by. So if you see a lady, has God answered you? So, what if it's your sister passing by anyway? So yes. So in other words, either ask God for another sign or wait for a believer with the same sign. But don't go forward. Then, how long should communication take in a relationship? For example, in a day. Can I talk to my girlfriend for the whole day? Answer is, as long as it does not affect the rest of your life. With your spouse makes you miss lectures, makes you miss fellowships. There is a problem. It
Okay. What advice would you give to a young man who is ready to marry an Adventist lady from a non-Adventist family? Staunch in culture, both currently having a challenge with the cultural requirements for marriage as the man is not financially stable. Now, some of the things nobody will give you rules about, but you'll have to work out the circumstances. You want to marry from a believing family, they say for us, cows, no girl. Then the relationship fails, and has been failed by parents' demands. But the reasonable parents will not stand in the way of their children and elevate culture. Because he's saying the parents are not believers, so for them they are staunch in culture. They are saying we want this and that and that and that. This is your point and your time to evangelize that family, you and your girl. You need to be on talking terms. And you tell them if you don't allow this, if you can't relax on this, then you avoid the relationship. And the parents should be reasonable enough to understand that. Others, nobody can regulate that. It's really between the family, relationships, you and your parents, and then the other parents. Over to you.
Thank you. I have a question here. When is marriage ready for marriage? I think this is broader. I may not describe it in the short time that I have, but from you can pick answers from our discussions and presentation. Is it fine to start marriage from a rental? I live in a rental. I don't live in my personal house, and I'm happy. I'm happily married.
The two are mutually exclusive.
A rental. So that if you have to be in your own house before you get married, then you need to learn more about marriage. You are still learning. If you premise marriage on having your own house, then you have a lot to learn. The answer is yes, you can marry from a rental. I am a living example. Then this long, a broken relationship is healthier than a broken marriage. Now, the more you study a marriage mate, the more discoveries you get. And if they are not bearable, what do? If they are not bearable, you accept, tolerate, pray about them. Have you heard? You accept them, accommodate, tolerate, and learn to live with them. Because a decision has been made that for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, till death do us part. As long as you are living, you respect all of them. That's why we tell you about dating prayerfully. Because red flags that miss in dating affect you in marriage. How long? One to date, I think Elder answered that one. Pastor, you can go to the next question.
You have talked about the qualities of qualities to consider when choosing a partner. So if I have been dating a person and later realize we have failed to align, but he or she is not ready to let the relationship break, what do you do for such a person? I think this is relating to even the other question I talked about. But see, as I wanted to, the problem is that if you don't let go, or you let someone know that you have let them go, coming back, they will disturb you. Why should you hold them? Face them. It is painful. Let them know that you have ended the relationship. Actually, you are giving them a chance to move on. Than thinking that you are still with them, yet you're having someone. And that's the challenge with so many of us who have so many relationships that are holding us behind. And again, when you come to church, we kneel down and say, God, give me a spouse. You're holding a lot of 5 relationships. Let people go. Let them go. So that you help them, but you also help yourself.
Thank you, Pastor. Now, I have this kind of story. When someone in church, a boy, and he becomes a predator. You know predator? Gets this girl, drops that one, picks another one, drops that one, picks another and drops that one. And I'm thinking, are these girls, what are they? Robots. Or they are people with a mind and they can decide. Moreover, they might even know the story. He had the other one, he dropped her. After he dropped that one, he had this one relationship, he dropped her. And such boys go very far with you because they will have you in for sex. And after they have had sex with you, they are done with you. What happens? So I'm trying to say, we can end that through your reasonable talking and engagement with these people. The question here says, this is a very sad one, but I want this person to see me. We need to talk more. I've had my mom being raped by my dad while I was still young. It has been eating me up emotionally. And sometimes I get nightmares. I have been approached by many men as these characteristics with men of the characteristics I want. But every time I accept and decide to engage with any of them, this experience clings on back and he says, help me. You know, there are some experiences you may not overcome at once. Yet, don't allow other people's experience deny your own life. There are people whose relationships between mom and dad has made them feel marriage hell. And they don't even want to try because they think, no, the way mom is treated, I don't want to be treated that way. But you're not marrying your dad, are you? Are you getting married to your father? No, you're not. He's a different man. So people who cling to those experiences, they will spoil your future. You'd want to treat your husband like your mother treats your father. These are different people. They are not the same. That's why you see that even when we are giving people into marriage and we are telling our boys to marry, we tell them there's no formula which works. If I tell you, Abakazi, Okolaboti, maybe I'm talking about my wife, but you're not marrying that one. You're to marry somebody different. So there's no one straightforward formula, but to learn one another, learn the love languages, and know that chimukolera, chimukolera, and then learn to balance. Otherwise, the person who talks about this rape thing, it's a sad story. We need to talk, but don't let that sit in your mind for too long. It's not your relationship. You can have something very different from what your mom and dad had.
Thank you. About how to break up, you can learn assertive, polite. Do you understand? Polite but
assertive.
Assertive. You make your point across and you stick to it, but in a way that does not offend or take away the self-esteem of a person. Let him know that you're going to separate for reasons, but that is not in any way to mean this person is inferior or does not have qualities. Then this one says, if the lady is an Adventist and the parents are not, and the parents are against the marriage because of reasons, because you are not of the parents' faith. The parents are Anglican, she's Adventist, and the parents say, my daughter cannot marry an Adventist. Should you go ahead? The answer is yes, in my view. Parents' consent is important, but it should be in line with the word of God. A parent's consent can be, you can still marry without it. If the reasons are godly, you follow. If they are not, you don't. Because if I've seen parents saying, my child cannot marry a person from this tribe. If God has, because sometimes the parents' will is not necessarily God's will. We listen to parents. We actually become patient with them. We give them the benefit of the doubt, the time we talk to them until such a time when they agree. Let me give you a quick short story. My father-in-law had refused my own marriage for reasons that, in my view, were not valid. For him, he had said the daughter had not finished CPA, and she needed to finish her CPA, otherwise no wedding will take place. So we prayed about it. We talked. The mother talked
about CPA.
About his acceptance. My wife has just finished CPA this year, 6 years after marriage. But the man had said no. But were we going to stop marriage? At some point we are going to go on. But we give him time, we give him the benefit, we pray about it. The good thing is that after prayers and talking, he eventually agreed. But that was not going to stop our That's not going to stop a marriage. So parents' objections should be valid and should be godly. Some people say there should be no reason to love. Let me answer this before. This is the quicker one. Is it true that love is just a mindset? This mindset develops when made comfortable, but if not, it fades. If not a mindset, what is love? Love is more than a mindset. I think I tried to talk about it. Mindset is part of it. Love is a relationship. It includes a mindset, it includes actions. Haven't you been saying love is a verb? Yes? So love is a verb, it's true. Love is also a mindset. Love is a state of being. So love does not fade. If it fades, that is not love. The mindset is just part of it. So, in other words, let me say, love is a relationship.
Okay. How does it come to be that the people that we love don't love us back? And the people that we don't love us